We now know what is happening globally. We also now know that domestically we may have the right conditions for us to push for growth. Now the question is, are we thinking of linear growth, or are we thinking of dynamic and exponential growth? Let me share with you something that is an interesting fact. Back in 2015, it was just 8 years ago, OPEC, in the OPEC's annual World Oil Outlook, predicted that by 2040 there will be 4.7 million EVs around the world. But that 4.7 million was reached by 2020. And last year alone, China alone sold more than 6 million EV. So OPEC revised its estimation that by 2045, there will be 500 million EVs. But others' predictions, for example, Bloomberg and EF, predicted that by 2045, there will be 700 million EVs on the road. My point is, this will be accelerating, changing targets. We are seeing EVs, solar panels, energy transitions, all this happening at an exponential pace. These are not happening at a linear pace. These are happening at an exponential and very dynamic pace because, of course, governments are involved. The Chinese government, the US government, the EU, they are involved in pushing, and they are also competing. And of course, because of the pressing need of climate change, because of political challenges, but also because this is good money. Also because there is an economic prospect in developing the new economy. And here is where I want to share with you, and I hope this can help us to rethink our perspective. I'm often confronted by conversation that treat ESG as a ticking the boxes problem, or thinking that it's a catch-up problem, that we have to catch up because EU is doing this, because this and this is doing this, and therefore we have to catch up. We have to tick the boxes. It is a painful transition. Now this is in the narrative. This is even among the government, among the thinking of the government, or government officials, among our conversation. We are treating this as a painful journey. It is so difficult. It is so hard. And we have to tick the boxes. But if you think seriously, there is a flip side to it. The flip side to it is good money. It is good prospect. Otherwise, no one is going to invest in all this thing. So I think this is one paradigm shift that if I can impart on you today, if I can get some of you to agree with me today, that we see this as an opportunity. We see this as an opportunity for us to grow dynamically, to grow exponentially, and that green transition is not a burden. Green transition is an opportunity. Now, if we can think so, then we will see ESG in very different lights. But of course, ESG is not just the E. To quantify the E is possible. To quantify the E is now quite common. But now the question is how to quantify the S. Right? To quantify the G, you have enough lawyers, you more or less know how to quantify the G. And you have a bit of moral and ethical commitment, you know how to quantify the G. But to quantify the S is a challenge. Because if you look at existing within this country, we are just trying to go for the bare minimum. Because we take an approach to think that these are very difficult, and we have to tick the boxes. So we tick the minimal boxes. We will treat workers based on what the labor law requires. I want to introduce you to a book today, which I have also given a copy to Ong Ken Ming. This is by Zenip Tan, The Case for Good Jobs. How Great Companies Bring Dignity, Pay, and Meaning to Everyone's Work. Okay. When we think of the corporations of the next generation, we think of how to create value. We will have to think of how to pay people better. And for government, when we think about how to prevent social divide, how to prevent a society breaking up, how to ensure and insure a society that can be safe for businesses, that has social cohesion, we will have to talk about paying people better. We will have to talk about paying people better and see that as an engine of growth. Because when more people are paid better, of course EPF collect a lot more. But the point is that you also generate consumption domestically, and you generate new opportunities for fellow Malaysians, and you also create a more dignified society. Now, I don't want to end with not sharing with you something that we at the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry treat it very seriously. As all of you by now would have been familiarized with the word NIMP. And many of you would have already known the 4 missions: increasing economic complexity, takeoff, net zero, and economic security and economic inclusivity. Today, I want to share with you, or to reiterate, MIDA's commitment to the 6th National Investment Aspiration, which was announced by the government in 2022, in order to shape Malaysian industry into the future. And these 12 criteria will be the criteria that, moving forward, MIDA, MIDI, and all agencies will be guided, because we want to be able to create growth that are sustainable, growth that are actually contributing to the long-term economic health of the nation. So the first national investment aspiration is increased economic complexity, and the 2 sub-indicators are: number 1, sophisticated export with high value added. Second, regional innovation hub. So these are the investment that we are looking at, whether domestically or globally, in order to increase economic complexity. The second NIA is to create high-value job opportunities. And the 2 sub-indicators are: number 1, high-skill jobs. That an investment that comes in has to create high-skill jobs. Second, fair income. And the indicator is manufacturing medium wage. Let me touch a bit upon on manufacturing medium wage. In most other countries, manufacturing medium wage are usually much higher than the general medium wage. But Malaysia has 2 problems. The first problem is medium wage is low. Medium wage in 2022 was 2,424 ringgit, 2424. Which means 50% of Malaysian salarized workers are earning less than 2,424 ringgit. You can put that into your mind and to understand the severity of that and the threat to social cohesion. But the second problem is manufacturing medium wage, which is supposed to be the most advanced sector in the economy. The medium wage is 2,205 ringgit in 2022. That means manufacturing wage is even lower, 2205. Lower than 2424. So that is a challenge, and we want to change that. So the new industrial master plan targets that if we can grow and we can achieve the 4 missions we outlined, we want to be able to reach a medium wage in the manufacturing sector at 4,510 ringgit by 2030. I understand that it is a tall order. However, if we can transform technologically, transform the labor market, and also grow the nation in a way that is on a high growth path, we will be able to reach that. The third NIA is extend domestic linkages. We do not just want FDI, we want FDI to come in and to build domestic linkages. So whatever FDI that comes into the nation must also be able to build domestic linkages so that our SME can be part of the global supply chain, and we are not importing a supply chain lock, stock, and barrel from other countries. The 2 sub-indicators are internationally competitive SMEs, and second, deepen the supply chain integration as much as possible. The fourth NIA is develop new and existing cluster, and the 2 sub-indicators are, number 1, strategic positioning of high-value technology manufacturing companies. Second, develop new cluster in emerging growth market, for example, 4IR and digital economy. The 5th indicator is improve inclusivity with 2 sub-indicators, catalyzing sectorial and regional development within Malaysia. That means moving some of the cluster as much as possible outside the 3 main clusters. And also high manufacturing value added participation by least developed states. The 6th NIA is enhanced ESG practices with 2 sub-indicators, de-risking economy against ESG factors, and second, drive towards net zero aspiration. Now I outline all this is because I believe that Malaysia is on the path of a second economic takeoff. Not entirely because of our own achievement. Of course, the political environment that we have put in place now after a year of change of government is the condition, but also because of global changes, because of the geopolitical shift globally, we are now seeing huge investment, particularly manufacturing investment, coming into Malaysia and the region. We must seize this opportunity. We must take this opportunity and guided by the 12 sub-indicators and the 6 NIA outlined in the new industrial master plan to grow the economy into one that we will be proud of. And what is the goal that we want to see? We want to see a middle-class society in Malaysia. We want to see many Malaysians, maybe 50-60% of Malaysians, earning at least enough to pay taxes. Okay? In Malaysia, you need to earn around 4,000 to pay income tax. But we only have less than 15% of the population earning more than 4,000 ringgit to pay income tax. So this is our collective mission. I share with you this because I believe that you are the mover and shakers of the economy, and I believe that we together can build a better Malaysian economy. Thank you very much.